sports, Joy, get to you. Obviously, you've been around sports your whole life. Older brother, Jason Taylor, Hall of Famer, now on the staff at the U. I'm super excited about it. But let's talk about you. You played a bunch of sports, I know, in high school, but where, I guess, did your sports journey start in your life?
Well, I grew up in Pittsburgh. So I was born and raised in Pittsburgh. So, I mean, if you know anybody from Pittsburgh, they're a sports fan in some capacity. At the very least, they watch the Steelers. So that's just how I grew up.
Great sports town.
Yeah, being around not just, men, but just people. Like everybody watches sports. I always tell the story that my grandmother and my aunts lived together like the Golden Girls. And you were at their house at any point if any game came on. Whatever we're watching, cartoons, whatever else is on is getting turned off and the game is being put on. And if the Steelers lose, it's a bad day. It's a bad week. Everybody's complaining. Everybody's bitching. So,
and I know they saw a bunch of championships and they saw
winning pedigree.
Yeah. And it's just the lifestyle there, it's a sports town and that's what everybody does is, drink and, eat a
Is anybody else good besides the Steelers in Pittsburgh? I never hear about the Pirates.
Penguins have won a lot.
Penguins.
And the Pirates, the Pirates have been good in a while. But we had our days. They had their moments, and obviously back in the day were legendary. But it's just a sports town. So in college as well, Penn State, Pitt, and high school sports especially high school football is huge in Western Pennsylvania. So it's just a sports place. And so I just grew up around sports, and then I played sports growing up. I played basketball, ran track, played volleyball and soccer, and I ran track my freshman year of college. And then I kind of realized, I'm probably not.
What was your favorite out of all of them? What was your favorite sport?
What was your favorite sport?
I mean, I would say track. I played basketball and ran track the longest, but I ran track in college, so I would say that was because I was the best at that.
Okay. You were a sprinter?
Sprinter, yeah. I ain't running no long distance.
What was your So what were your times? 100, 200?
Oh no, I don't remember. I hate 200, first of all.
What were your events? I need to know the events you ran.
I never had the thighs for the 200. You gotta have those track thighs. I was in high school. I could never run the 200. I hated that. I did the 4x1, the 4x4, 400. I love the relays. I played a lot of team sports, and relay was always fun to me because it was, we're racing, we're going up against everybody else, but it's still a team event. So I did not love the 400. That was the worst. Always try to duck out because, the 4x1 I run at the end of the meet too. So if you weren't originally signed up, anyone who, runs track knows that you were trying to sneak out or hide because coach would always try and put you in the event at the last minute.
Yep.
Worse. But I love playing sports. And I got to college, I realized I wasn't going to the Olympics. And listen, being a college athlete is a lot. It's a huge commitment. And I just realized I was like, you know what, this is probably not for me. I'm not going to study anything particular that has to do with this that would benefit me, like, being a trainer or wanting to be a coach or something. So I was like, I'm just going to enjoy the rest of my college experience, which I did. Mm-hmm. And it was the right decision. But I love being able to have the experience of getting recruited and, going on recruitment trips and seeing different schools and going through.
I was about to ask you, how was that process for what schools did it come down to?
It was between, I narrowed it down to, I got recruited for soccer too, but I wasn't gonna, it was only D2. So I wasn't going to play soccer, but it came down to Kent State and IUP, which is where I ended up going. But Kent State, it was Ohio. I'd spent a lot of time in Ohio. Jason, growing up in Pittsburgh.
How would Jason feel? Isn't that a rivalry, Kent State and Akron? My little brother went to Akron. They hated Kent State.
Yeah, they don't like Kent State. But I spent a lot of time in Akron. So it was a good experience. I think it helps me now a lot in my career, being able to talk about college sports, like knowing what the process of being recruited is, knowing what, the NCAA rules, used to be for college athletes, how demanding it is and all of that. So those experiences, I think, help me now being a broadcaster, and, I can speak to them from a personal space, not just, my family.